What if your biggest threat wasn't a stranger, but the person living just a few steps away? You know that strange gut feeling, the one that hits when you step outside and boom, your neighbor magically appears, again. Maybe they're watering the same patch of grass for the third time today, or checking their mailbox at the exact moment you open your door. Sounds familiar? That's not just coincidence. It might be something deeper. Sometimes it feels like the walls have ears and the bushes eyes. When neighbors start acting less like friendly faces and more like undercover surveillance agents, your once peaceful home can start to feel like a place you have to tiptoe through, like you're walking across a crime scene. If you've ever caught yourself lowering your voice in your own kitchen, not because someone is home, but because someone might be that instinct is worth listening to. In fact, it might be the very thing protecting your peace, your safety, even your life. In this video, I'm breaking down 5 clear signs that your neighbor isn't just being nosy, they're tracking you. These aren't cute quirks. These are serious warning signs that, if ignored, can steal your peace of mind one silent moment at a time, so don't blink. By the end of this video, you'll know how to spot the signs before the danger parks itself right outside your front door. And hey, if you believe that your privacy deserves a standing ovation, hit that subscribe button right now. We've got more real-world survival tips coming your way. We ended the last section with a clear warning. Patterns don't lie, and if someone is always coincidentally near you, it's time to look deeper. Now, let's talk about how this behavior silently shifts from strange to serious. When someone seems to move before you even make a move, that's not chance, that's calculation. And here's where it starts to get dangerous. Patterns aren't random, they're the result of deliberate attention, sustained focus, and often an unhealthy obsession. A neighbor who studies your routine this closely isn't just curious, they're blurring boundaries. They begin to believe that your life is somehow part of their world, that your movements, your habits, your presence are theirs to track. The ancient Stoics saw this kind of hidden threat long before the age of Wi-Fi or security cameras. They knew that your best defense is not to control the outside world, but to master your mind. Marcus Aurelius said it best: "You are disturbed not by the things themselves, but by your opinion about them." That means when your instincts say something's off, trust them. Observe without panic. Notice without letting fear hijack your clarity. This isn't about paranoia, it's about strategy. So how do you protect yourself when coincidence turns into calculated behavior? Start with documentation. Stay calm. Keep a private log, dates, times, what you saw, what felt strange. Don't rely on memory or gut feeling alone. In matters of safety, proof matters. Then, let tech work in your favor. Install cameras, check the recordings. Over time, subtle patterns emerge, like a neighbor always loitering outside 5 minutes after you leave. These details may seem small, but they become powerful if the situation ever requires legal action. Another strategy: break the pattern, change your habits, take new routes, leave at unpredictable times, park in a different spot. Why? Because if someone really is watching you, they'll react fast, and that shift, that's your confirmation. This isn't fear talking, it's vigilance. True security isn't just about locked doors. It's about awareness. It's about noticing who might be quietly redrawing the lines of your life without your consent. Let me tell you what David did, the man we talked about earlier. When things escalated, He didn't explode or point fingers. He didn't start a war. He acted like a true Stoic, calm, strategic, controlled. He quietly changed his routines. He collected evidence. And when his neighbor crossed a line trespassing on his lawn late at night, David involved the local authorities, not with panic, but with precision, because he listened to his gut, because he stayed composed. He reclaimed his peace without ever losing his power. And here's the hard truth. If you feel like you're being watched all the time, you probably are. Your subconscious picks up on danger long before your brain catches up. Ignoring that signal isn't strength, it's self-sabotage. Real strength is knowing the truth, protecting your space, and moving with quiet, unshakable confidence. Your home, your sanctuary, your mind, they all deserve that level of respect. You begin to second-guess yourself. Am I just being paranoid? Am I imagining all this? But deep down, your instincts are shouting something is wrong. The only problem, your logical mind is trying to stay polite, trying to dismiss the alarm bells. But make no mistake, your space is being invaded. In today's world, this kind of intrusion doesn't require hacking skills or spy gear. All it takes is a smartphone set to record, a Wi-Fi signal intercepting your smart home, a speaker that lights up in the middle of the night. These aren't harmless tech hiccups. They are fractious hairline cracks forming in the walls of your peace. And the longer you ignore them, the deeper they grow. What starts as subtle unease quickly becomes psychological erosion. You begin to lose your spontaneity, that freedom to hum in the kitchen, gone. You hesitate before stepping outside. You filter your laughter, your frustration, even your sorrow. Eventually, you're not living anymore, you're performing, editing your every move for an invisible audience you never invited. A Stoic would say this: yes, your privacy has been violated, but the true loss happens only when you surrender your peace. Marcus Aurelius reminded us that what destroys us isn't the event itself, it's how we respond. You may not control your neighbor's behavior, but you absolutely control your mind, your actions, and your dignity. So don't panic, move with precision. Begin by walking your property like it's the first time you've ever seen it. Look higher, look closer. Devices hide in plain sight inside porch lights, fake birdhouses, even tree limbs. Pay attention to odd Wi-Fi networks that appear when you get home. Notice if your battery dies unusually fast, or if your smart device activates without command. These aren't coincidences, they're digital red flags. Now is the time to reclaim your territory. Secure your home like a general fortifying his stronghold before battle. Use encrypted networks, add firewalls, set up cameras of your own, not to spy, but to defend. Know what's yours and protect it. But here's the most important part. Don't let fear become your jailer. The greatest win isn't surviving under surveillance, it's refusing to hand over your freedom to fear. So set your boundaries, physically, digitally, mentally, and once you've drawn that line, live fully within it. Laugh, sing, exist boldly and in spirit, no matter who's watching from the shadows. Because real freedom isn't about preventing intrusion, it's about refusing to let it own you. Once you notice it, you can't unsee it. A neighbor commenting on your new haircut, that's normal. But a neighbor casually mentioning that you got it at 2:30 p.m. last Tuesday and paid with your Visa card, that's not friendliness, that's surveillance. What's happening beneath the surface is far more unsettling. Psychologically, neighbors like this often develop a warped sense of entitlement, a belief that living nearby grants them unrestricted access to your life. They justify their behavior under the innocent mask of neighborly concern or casual curiosity. But let's be honest, what they're doing is not casual, it's calculated. The collection of small, seemingly innocent details, your schedule, your purchases, your visitors, is a method of control. It's how manipulators operate, not with confrontation, but by quietly gathering ammunition. Information becomes a weapon, and you never even knew you handed it over. And the cost? It's more than discomfort. When someone can accurately predict your movements and private choices without you ever saying a word, your sense of freedom begins to crack. You start monitoring yourself. You second-guess your conversations. You hesitate before mentioning anything near an open window. You wonder, what else have they heard? What else have they stored away? From a Stoic perspective, the path forward is clear. You may not be able to change their behavior, but you have full power over your boundaries. Marcus Aurelius taught that outside events only gain power when we hand over our inner authority. If your privacy feels invaded, don't respond with reckless emotion. Respond by reclaiming control. Begin small. Test the environment. Mention a made-up story or fake plan a trip you're not taking, or a visitor who doesn't exist. Say it near an open window or in your yard. Then wait. If your neighbor references it later, you'll have your answer. This method isn't pretty, but it's brutally effective. In the meantime, reinforce your privacy. Limit sensitive discussions near thin walls or open doors. Use white noise machines. Be cautious with what you share online. Even small bits of information, your favorite cafe, your gym hours, your pet's name, can be pieced together by someone who's watching too closely, creating strong information. Boundaries isn't paranoia. It's wisdom. It's the very practice the Stoics lived by. Protect what is yours, your mind, your peace, your private life, from those who fail to respect the invisible walls. You have every right to build. Because when a neighbor starts to feel entitled to the corners of your life you've never shown, that's not nosiness. That's a violation. They are erasing the invisible line between public interaction and private existence. And once that line is crossed, you don't reclaim it with fear or outrage. You reclaim it with a calm, strategic defense of your personal sovereignty. And speaking of protecting what's yours, you found this knowledge useful, hit that subscribe button right now. Your future self will thank you for choosing preparation over regret. Richard tried to shrug it off, told himself it was nothing. But the next morning, something else felt off. The potted plant by his front door, one he always rotated to catch the morning sun, was now turned out toward the street that wasn't. A breeze that was deliberate. Then, just a few days later, his mailbox, normally sealed tight, was slightly ajar. But there had been no mail delivered that day. These were tiny details, yes. But Richard knew, deep down, this wasn't random. Someone wasn't just passing by. They were interacting, testing, watching. And that's what makes this sign so deeply unsettling. When the objects inside your private space start to shift, when they've been touched, moved, or altered, it's no longer just a breach of property. It's a breach of your mind. Your home, the one place meant to be your fortress, now feels permeable, vulnerable. These disturbances carry a heavy emotional weight. They speak volumes if you know how to interpret them. A mailbox that looks tampered with, a package moved from where the courier left it, blinds slightly tilted differently than how you remember. These aren't clumsy coincidences. They are messages, warnings, And every time you dismiss them, you give more room for the intruder to get bolder. That's why experts suggest using simple telltales: a sliver of tape across your doorframe, a small paper tucked between the door and its frame. If it's broken or shifted when you return, you know this isn't overreacting. It's smart self-defense. It's strategy, and if you find anything, document everything meticulously. Snap clear, date-stamped photos. Keep a private journal. Note the time, what changed, how it made you feel. This isn't paranoia, it's preparation. It's building your case quietly in case the situation escalates. Because make no mistake, the emotional toll here is real. These discoveries shake more than your sense of safety, they shake your sense of trust. Not just in one person, but in the neighborhood, the people, the space around you. When your home, your sanctuary feels like it's been silently trespassed. Every sound, every misplaced object becomes a trigger, a signal that something is off. Something is watching. But the Stoics remind us of a powerful truth. You can't stop every intrusion, but you can choose your inner response. Epictetus taught, it's not events that disturb us, but our judgment of them. That means recognizing the violation calmly and responding with clarity, not fear. So walk your home with intention. Lock down what you can. Guard your peace of mind as fiercely as your front door. When surveillance becomes physical, it's no longer a red siren, and it's up to you to act with strength, not panic. Your instinct is the alarm. Your documentation is the shield. And your calm, focused action, that is your victory. The truth is, we all do it. We downplay our instincts. We convince ourselves we're overreacting, just being paranoid, trying to stay polite. But here's the truth. Your instincts were never designed to be polite. They were designed to keep you alive. Let me tell you a story. Karen lived in a peaceful suburban cul-de-sac. One of those quiet neighborhoods where people wave at each other, mow their lawns, and smile as they walk there. Dogs. Her neighbor always seemed friendly, maybe too friendly. He'd wave a little too eagerly when she left for work, but Karen brushed it off. Just being nice, she thought. Then he started making small comments about her job, her schedule, even things she didn't remember ever telling him. Still, Karen tried to explain it away, but one evening, after a completely private phone call behind closed doors, where she mentioned taking a weekend trip, she found a note under her doormat that read, "Have a great trip." No one else knew about that plan. That shook her. But even then, she told herself, maybe it was a coincidence. It wasn't, single quotes. Within weeks, the situation escalated. Her neighbor was spotted in her backyard when she wasn't home, claiming he was checking on the property. What began as friendly gestures had now turned into a serious violation. Experience is not rare. It's a textbook case of how obsession unfolds. It never begins with flashing warning signs. It starts subtly, like a shadow, slowly creeping closer. Psychologically, this shift is disturbing. You're no longer seen as a person, but as a target, something to observe, monitor, and eventually control. These individuals often mask their actions as concern. They present themselves as your protector, your confidant, but in reality, it's a form of manipulation designed to isolate you and make you easier to dominate. From a Stoic point of view, your response must be clear, swift, and grounded in reason. Marcus Aurelius reminded us, it's not outside forces that define us, only our actions do. So what do you do? First, document everything. Every strange comment, every odd interaction, Every note, message, or moment that made your skin crawl. Log the time, the place, what was said or done. Build a timeline not to vent, but to protect yourself. And if things continue to escalate, don't hesitate. Seek legal help. Restraining orders, cease and desist letters, and anti-stalking laws exist for a reason. Don't wait for the situation to become dangerous. Law enforcement is there to step in before things turn tragic. Just as importantly, don't isolate. Predators thrive in silence. They want you to feel alone. That's why your connections with friends, with family, with people you trust, your most powerful defense. This isn't about creating conflict. It's about preserving your right to live freely, to feel safe in your space, and to not wake up every day with dread. Because obsession doesn't kick down the door. It slips in as politeness, as concern, as coincidence. That's why you need to recognize the shift early and act. Courage doesn't mean you feel no fear. Courage means you protect yourself anyway. Your instincts, they're ancient tools, fine-tuned over centuries of survival. Trust them, because once a neighbor crosses that invisible line, silence won't save you. Only action will dot. And if you stayed with me this far, congratulations. You're now part of the top 1% who can actually spot the difference between a friendly neighbor and a full-time amateur spy. You now know the signs, the traps, and most importantly, how to protect your sanctuary before it becomes someone else's favorite channel. Because awareness isn't fear. It's locking the door before the wolf even knocks. You deserve to live with your curtains open and your mind at peace, not questioning every sound near the mailbox. So trust your instincts. Protect your space. And if this video opened your ears, don't stop here. Hit that subscribe button and join a community that refuses to sleep with one eye open. And one more thing, that next video the algorithm chose for you. It's not a coincidence. It's your next shield. Click it now. Your future self and your peace of mind will thank you.